What's up? All with Liberty Hill Comics. Ladies and gentlemen, conservators of all ages, you are about to join the greatest comic book conservation live show on planet Earth. Some would say the entire solar system. What do you guys think of that?
That was awesome.
Did you get hyped?
It's true. It's true. It is the greatest comic conservation channel there is. There's no other better.
The greatest live comic conservation.
Live show. Yes.
It is. In fact, I'm not being modest when I say that. As far as I know, we're the only comic book conservation live show on planet Earth or in the solar system. And I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Week in and week out, almost. Yeah, it's great to see you. Looks like you're back home.
I am. I'm back home. Everything's good. I was gone over in Europe for like I was at work, then Europe for a month, and now I'm back home with you guys. So nice. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Hope everybody had a good New Year and Christmas and all that. I didn't see you on the last show, so.
Yeah. Oh, we had an amazing year-end wrap-up.
Yeah,
look forward show. It was so much fun. It's always great to get those big groups together and just do a less sort of structured show, from time to time. I think we'll probably try to do our next one. We have a milestone coming up. America has a birthday, and we have our 100th episode.
Ooh.
On America's 250th birthday.
Oh,
kind of cool.
America.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah. So why don't we say hi quick?
Yeah.
Let everybody know where they can find you. And then we'll move on we'll pay some bills.
That sounds great. Hey, and thank you everybody that sponsors the show. It's great. That's why we're here. Spread the joy, spread the information if we can. I've seen some really great projects you guys have put up on the Facebook group and commented on several of them. As some of this, all the work is always amazing that you guys do. But if you're looking for me, best place to find me is on Instagram. I do have a website. You can reach me there. But I'm YouTube, Instagram, but that's where you find me.
Links in the description.
Nice
As always, we're joined.
to have you here on this side of the pond with us, Larry.
Yeah. I know it's weird. I'm in the same time, somewhat same time zone.
We got Left Coast represented here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I can't be on when I'm in like Germany. I mean, it's 2:30 in the morning, and it's just like everybody in the house gets really angry with me.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then we got the Right Coast represented, the Big Apple.
That's right, Phantom Phil, coming to you live as always from the border of Brooklyn and Queens here in New York City, and as I like to say, this means it's Sunday, and I'm here to talk comic conservation with you fine gentlemen, and I'm looking forward to it and going over some cool Golden Age book that I saw in the title card there. So it's always, Paul, you're always really good at picking A segments, because I got to say, Larry, myself, we're doing the B segments and changing up. You're always doing the A segment, so it's just you're really good at picking.
He is
material to go over. I gotta say,
all the research, everything. I appreciate.
It's always fun. Yeah, it's always fun. Occasionally, there's like a barren week where I have to scrape something up, but most weeks, I mean, conservation's growing in no small part due to this community.
Oh, I know, it's huge.
More books are getting out there. More books are trading hands. And that means more exciting books to talk about in the A segment. I
was looking at our Facebook group.
Thanks, Tom.
And
also,
we have almost...
Thanks, Collecting Chaos. That was very nice of you guys.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, very generous.
Yeah.
Finally getting my postal retirement tell us more. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no. I was just going to comment. We have almost 600 people in the Facebook group now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's growing.
It's huge.
And we're not really even promoting it. It's all organic growth. We
It
mention it here, but it's all organic growth. And I like it that way. I haven't tried to grow it aggressively at all. It's been
I put it in all my YouTube videos. I said, tell people to come join us, both for the live show and for our Facebook group.
For myself and others, Paul, as I think I mentioned to you earlier, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I believe in today resolutions. But since it is New Year's, my New Year's resolution really is to try to be at least somewhat more active in the Facebook group, because I do say I'm very busy with work, but I can always make time to do that. And I make time for the show here on Sundays to make a little extra time to go through and see projects people are working on and stuff too. So that's if you're watching this and you too are like me and have kind of hesitated to look in there, I'm gonna try to do it a little bit more myself.
Oh, cool.
It's great. It's a great community, and there's always fun projects going on. There's always something to learn. There's always someone to lend a hand. And to be frank, regarding, our ability to participate, one of the reasons I created the group is because I can't help everybody. I can't respond to everybody. And there's always somebody else who can help you. So I know my own limitations. And so I also, though, I share your sentiment regarding like New Year's resolutions. Like, I just resolved to do better every day, right? I mean, some people need the beginning of the year. It is nice to sort of wipe the slate clean and start fresh, and that is good. I feel the same way, frankly, about like Christmas. I don't really generally want much for Christmas. It's just another day. But it is a day that I enjoy. And I enjoy the New Year too. So
nice.
Wow, the generosity here is humbling.
I know you guys are going crazy.
Thank you so much. Let's thank the sponsors of this show, and then we'll get on to these new sponsors for next week's show. Again, abundant New Year's thanks to the generous sponsors of this show. If you're watching this show live without ads, it's because of these gentlemen: Lost in Wallace, Don Carter, Collecting Chaos, You Pluck My Last Comic, and Gorilla Monkey 3K. Thank you all so much. They gave donations during our year-end wrap-up, which was a ton of fun. I think we had 7 people, and you two were out. I mean, the family has grown a lot. We've actually
has.
We've had at least 10 co-hosts now, other than myself, or including myself. So it's really just, again, community, working together and growing together and helping one another. And that's what we're trying to do. So thank you again. Yeah. Let those gentlemen know in the comments that you appreciate them. AG is here. Welcome, AG. Thank you. You Pluck My Last Comic is here. The professor, Peter Alachi, says, bonsoir, mes bon amis. And bonsoir back. Salesboy Comics is here. Welcome, Dylan. Jason's here. The Archivist of Dread.
Jason's here. Yeah.
Don Carter is here. Silver Spidey's here. You Pluck My Last Comic. Morris Devereaux is here. He now has 6573 at the end of his name. I guess in the YouTube sweep, they got a lot of our regulars. Space Baby's here. Gorilla Production 73. That's Gorilla Monkey 3K to most of you. Kevin Kosnik 8909, another victim of the YouTube renaming, because I'm pretty sure my brother wasn't Kevin Kosnik 8909 last time he joined us. Neuro Comics is here. Don Carter's here. My buddy Mike is here. Mike Partu. And thank you again to, let's get the last. John R. Bingham of Lucan is here. And again, thanks to our sponsors already for next episode, Don Carter, Collecting Chaos, and Gorilla Production 73, who
Thanks,
I
guys.
always remember as Gorilla Monkey 3K. Yeah. So without further ado, let's jump into this book. This is a kind of a monster, this book. This actually, this series is kind of a monster series. And so I wanted to talk about All Select Comics a little bit. It's maybe somebody can look while I'm going through my pattern. How many of these covers? So All Select, there are 11 issues in All Select. The 11th issue is kind of a transitional issue. It's called All Select, starring the Blonde Phantom. So there's really 10 issues in our subject matter here, which is, the spandex people. And they're all Schomburg covers. I'm wondering, if somebody doesn't mind looking, how many of these are considered by CGC as classic covers? I would imagine it's quite a few of them, but we're gonna look at a few of them here.
Yeah.
But this one here is a monster. Only 38 Universal, guys.
Jeez.
47 all grades. Just the one conserved. That's our book of interest today. Median grade relatively high, 6.0. There is one. There's a 9.6 of this book, which is somewhat shocking. There's also a 9.4, a 9.2, two 9.0s. So those bring up the sort of minimum grade, the median grade. But what a tough book. And for timely collectors and for Schomburg collectors, I mean, there's a lot of tough books, but this one is not easy. So a little bit of background. As I mentioned, Alex Schomburg cover. I think most of our longtime viewers understand the appeal of the
We love Schomburg covers.
Even the Zila covers. I mean, I love me some Zila covers. All Select was an anthology. This particular issue has 4 stories. As I mentioned, there are only 11 issues. So this was a quarterly affair that ran for basically 3 years. 10 of them feature Cap and the Human Torch and some other heroes in anthology style. The 11th one features the Blonde Phantom on the cover. This title eventually becomes Blonde Phantom with issue number 12, and then becomes Lovers with issue number 23. So if you are a completionist, I guess you're collecting All Select, Blonde Phantom, and Lovers. And I think that if anybody has all of them, my hat's off to you.
Yeah, that's great.
As I mentioned, the first 10 are this sort of formulaic. Before we get into the Schomburg covers, there's Blonde Phantom number 12. That's effectively the first issue of Blonde Phantom. It's the continuation of this title, All Select. And then there's Lovers number 23, again, effectively issue number 1, the continuation of the Blonde Phantom. I pulled together the splash pages for this book because as I started to give
those are wicked splash pages.
Wow.
I started to give these timelies more credit for these splash pages.
I have never seen these.
Yeah.
But
those are dark.
Obviously, obviously a wartime title.
Yeah.
And it was a wartime title, again, through our period of interest, the first 10 issues. The war was still raging in Europe and Japan. And so you have stories featuring our Japanese antagonists and our Nazi antagonists. The Captain America, the entire story is dark like this. Like the panels themselves are dark. I encourage you to check it out. It really is phenomenal work. I like to say they call it the Golden Age for a reason. They really call it the Golden Age for a reason. This stuff is
Mystery of the Hangman's Island. I don't know if people know a little bit of history in Germany. The hangman of a village usually lived in an island because his occupation was so dark. They didn't want him mingling with the rest of the villagers. And so he and his wife would normally live in a hangman's tower. And when somebody needed to be executed, they would walk them across the bridge. If you've ever been to Nuremberg, you can see all this. It's very fascinating. But yeah, it's funny to see that the Hangman's Island.
That might be a job I would try out for. I like solitude, so
you could do that.
I don't imagine how many hangings can you have in a year, right?
Well, your wife would have to do all the shopping because you're really not allowed to leave the town.
I don't come to town. Sounds perfect to me. Any other details any other perks I should know about Larry?
Pays well.
Don't you get tipped by the person that you're executing?
No, that's in Saudi Arabia. The family has to pay the executioner extra money to lop off the head
for a clean death,
in one whack instead of 3.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up. That's the real deal.
Talk about dark. Jeez.
The Wizard got this particular book had 4 stories. It had the Cap. This is in order. So it had the Cap story, the Human Torch story. Wizard had a 2/3 splash page, and then it wrapped up with a Submariner story.
Whatever happened to Wizard? Did anybody ever carry that further once the rights were sold?
I think they just did not bring him into the Silver Age, and then for a while, the twins Wanda and Pietro were considered the children of the Wizard and his wife, but then I think that got retconned. I'm not
interesting.
Sure. Yeah, I mean he's still part of Marvel continuity. It's just that they aged him, and so Namor's kind of aged less, and then Cap, of course, was frozen. The rest of the Golden Age heroes, they actually aged and kept in the same continuity as their Silver Age heroes, unlike what DC ended up doing.
Yeah.
So they just aged him out.
Huh.
And what's weird is I think in these early issues, if I'm not mistaken, again, somebody in the chat can check me, I think he had more than one alter ego. Like I'm not sure it was one person was the Wizard, or maybe that's just them being loose with continuity in the early days. But I think there were. This is actually like a teenage looking type Wizard. So I had to find a comp for this book with only 37 Universal in the census. It was not easy, but we did have one sale in the last 2 years of a 4.0, and it sold for $38.40. I just did a linear regression and said a 4.5 would be worth $43.20. That's just the best I could do. There just aren't enough sales of this book.
Okay.
Just not enough of them running around. So that's the number we're going to use, $43.20. That's what we're playing against for those of you at home. Before I go on, this particular book presents extremely well for a 4.0. And
that's what I said.
And it has white pages. So I don't feel too bad about whatever price appreciation might have happened in the last year and a half. I think that this is a reasonable sort of market, guess.
Yeah.
At any rate, if you don't like it, you can use your own algorithm on your own show. Our book of interest here is a 4.5 with off-white pages. Conserved. Conservation includes tear seals to cover and first wrap, cover and centerfold reinforced. Seems like smart and conservative conservation, just to tidy the book up and make it structurally sound. We like that. Staining to cover, foxing to cover, and soiling on cover. So noticeably not cleaned. And I'm kind of fine with that. Let's have a look at the book in close-up. You see it went through bonnets. You can see the bonnet stamp. And it does have some obvious soiling and foxing, but it's structurally sound, especially now that conservation has been performed. These Schomburg covers are just so packed with action, so detailed. One of the things that's kind of great about them is that they do kind of break these rules of art. Jack Kirby would not draw a cover like this, right? Because for him, it's kind of less is more, right? And I think generally speaking, that's true. But you also have a large number of people, myself among them, that really love these almost like Where's Waldo type covers, where there's just so much stuff packed in that the image is more of a collage, and you can just spend hours kind of picking out new details.
Well, I always wondered how, because Schomburg covers are so busy. I wonder how long it actually took him to make a cover like that.
Yeah, good question. It's like a George Perez cover in the
it was super
mind
busy.
in the modern age, right?
Yeah.
Another artist whose work I really, really enjoyed. But Cap looks a little gleeful.
Well, he's killing Nazis, shooting him in the head with his machine gun and strapped to his motorcycle.
He looks just a little gleeful.
Yeah.
Jason, you'll appreciate this. There's a neater cover with is it Pyroman? I think it's Pyroman. It's like there's a Japanese building that's burning, and the Japanese have a fire hose, and they're trying to put the fire out. And Pyroman is pranking them by like kinking the fire hose. He, they can all burn. And it's a little dark for superheroics for my taste. But obviously it's a sign of the times. So there it is. There's the front cover. In terms of condition, like I said, light soiling, foxing are obvious, but the few tears that it had, including this one on the back cover, were where the conservator worked in a very minimalist way to just keep this book with some structural integrity. And I like this approach. Could they have maximized value by cleaning this? Maybe. It's good. It's conserved anyway, so it's not going to change in terms of the category of the grade. Could it have bumped the grade? Maybe a little bit.
Well, I'm looking at some, because certain stains are not removable,
Sure.
especially if they're deep. Like you see that one right on the edge of the spine, right where it says living things. That is a very difficult one to remove. Some of the lesser ones, that might even be some foxing buried in there. So the stains, I think, are going to remain to a certain extent. So probably won't bump it.
Yeah. That's what I got. Based on that, what do you think?
Guess
our
time.
Target, as a reminder, our target price.
You said 43 something?
My guesstimate was $4,320. You can call it 4,300 if you want.
Okay.
So, based on that, what do people think?
I am going to split the difference at 50% and say 2,160.
2,160. All right.
I gotta sit this one out because I know what this one for.
Oh, you know the answer.
AJ says they should consider changing the wizard's name. Speaking of, there's a DC book, and I think it might be an issue of the Watchmen, the original Watchmen, 12-issue series, where they have a guy in the wizard costume, and he's in the background, and he's urinating.
He's whizzing. Well, that is his superpower.
I've definitely seen that. Maybe it's not in that book. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's, but I've definitely seen it. It's somewhere. Yeah, he whizzed around. That's what he did. So that was his name. The Dazzler's the same. What does she do? She dazzles. That's her name.
So we get a bunch of answers in here.
Avengers Annual 6 and Giant Size 1. I think he appeared in the
really?
2, where he was retconned. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
He still exists. Although actually he had a heart attack, I believe, at one point. Jason says, wasn't he killed? I don't know if he was killed. I think he had a heart attack. I don't know if he was killed. But after he had the heart attack, then he wasn't allowed to run fast. So then when he ran fast, it was super, super heroic because in addition to doing heroic acts, he was risking literally his own life. Deadpool killed a wizard clone. That is a very faint Bonnet stamp. Yeah. Notice the stamp isn't even mentioned in the...
I didn't even see
in the
it.
Graders Notes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually, I feel like unless it's a file copy, they don't notice it.
Yeah, I've had one Bonnet book, and I don't think they notate it, actually.
Yeah, even like stamp on cover or anything.
Nothing,
The Professor's at $25.02. Salesboy's at $50. He's not a fan. Morris is at $1,500. Archivist Adrift is $27.12.
I've never seen an offensive guess, but that is I don't like this book guess. That's pretty funny.
Don R. Bingham of Lucan is at $2,000. Collecting Chaos $25.80. Don Carter $2,500. Space Baby $27.50. Pluck My Last Comic $30. Gorilla Production 73 Strong at $3,500. Mike says $1 billion, and AJ says 2,300. And the winner is, I'm going to do the drum roll. You do. You do the roll.
I might mess this up.
Make sure you get it perfect.
Okay.
That was not perfect. 2250. We had some very close guesses.
AG got closest, I think, 2,300.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, in an absolute sense. But what about Price is Right rules? Where were you, Captain?
I said 2,160. I went 50%.
2,160
No,
is probably
AG's still closer.
Yeah, that's probably the winner by price. Oh, I like to award two winners. Right. We award one Price is Right winner, and then we award one absolute winner. So
yeah, I just went 50%. Yeah, Aubrey knows.
You get the Conservation No Prize. Congratulations.
52%. Be exact. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not to be exact because clearly we're estimating here, right? And by the way, this was I didn't talk about it much, but this was a buy it now on eBay.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Those are not necessarily fair market value, right? If that's in a well-publicized auction, does it sell for more than that? There's also the school of thought that says usually a buy it now price is kind of a stretch price, and you got lucky that someone hit it.
Fair market value or
very
less.
Difficult to say.
Yeah, someone was willing to pay that. Maybe they were willing to pay more, but they weren't not willing to pay for it because it did not sell. It did sell, so it's
It also depends on how it's advertised too.
Absolutely,
and how quickly it sells. Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like when I sell a conserved book, you know, like on my eBay, I actually detail the difference between conserved and restored.
Mhm.
And I've had some people, you know, ask, and it's, you know, it's very detailed on the difference. So
Sure. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. I enjoyed just doing some research on it and presenting it to you. Very cool book. I
Awesome
feel
cover.
like it's going to be tough for you to find a timely Schaumburg cover that presents better than that for less money.
no, I think that was a great deal.
And that's probably why the buyer was in on it at that price point. The Schaumburg, you know, the timelies are very expensive anyway. The Schaumburg covers are the most expensive timelies, and that one presented very well, right? I mean, that's gonna
I thought it did.
that's gonna
Yeah.
look nice next to 5s and 6s, frankly.
Yep.
So I think the buyer did well. Presumably the seller did. They offered it for that, and they got what they asked. So good for everybody.
That's a good point. A blue 3.5 sold for 18.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Morris.
Yeah.
That's a good research. Yeah.
I saw that one too. It was 2, half grades away, so I didn't use it as a data point. Funny enough, and I don't know what book triggered it, Go Collect only showed that particular sale that you just pointed out, Morris, in the last year. But for some reason, their algorithm said that the 4.0, the 4.5, and the 5.0 were all worth 4,800, and I couldn't even see the book that was triggering them all to say they were worth that. So that's why I did my own regression in terms of estimating the value. But yeah, I think it is. It's one of those books that was well bought and well sold, I think. So good on both the buyer and seller there.
Yeah.
So this is the point in the show when we normally say, if you're enjoying the show, please give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment, not just here in the chat, but leave us a comment in the show. It helps other folks find the show.
Exactly.
And we appreciate all of you. Also, if this show is not quite enough comic book conservation content for you in a week, come check us out on Facebook. If you're a boomer and you're still on Facebook, we have a great comic book conservation community Facebook group. And we're growing it all the time, and we would love to see you there as long as you are collaborative and helpful and nice, because we don't like rude people. So
we do allow lurkers. I mean, Phil's a lurker. He comes and watches.
Don't feel like you have to come in there and contribute a lot. You can come in there and just attaboy people or whatever it is that makes you happy. Right? That's absolutely true. But you can't be rude.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. All right. With that, one of the least rude people I know, Phil.
Oh, shucks.
Is going to jump into he's definitely
take it away.
He's way less rude than me. Is going to
I don't know about that.
take us to the B segment. He's got a book that I think will complement the one we just showed you and will be exciting for a lot of folks. Will be what I think many folks rightly consider a grail.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. All right, so
Phil.
Hey, so I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this because it's my most recent post. It's not a big secret. It's a book a lot of us have seen before, but nonetheless,
never heard of it.
So, well, so that's okay. So if you're tuning in for the
Is
first
this an important
time,
book? Why do we care about this book?
You know nothing about comics, then that's okay, because I went ahead and did a little bit of the work. And, I just wanted to just, hold everyone's hand to walk through why this book is important in case, this is your first time tuning in. So why do we care about this book? It's obviously for the guy that this weird costume guy is carrying. See, that guy there has a secret that, anyway. So King of Silver Age of Comics, undisputably, published in August of 1962. This book is well over 60 years old now, which is scary to think about. This book is approaching 70 years old. That just, my brain doesn't, and this was published before I was born. That still doesn't make sense to me. So the first appearance of Peter Parker as Spider-Man, Aunt May, and of course Uncle Ben, who died in this issue and stayed dead. One of the only people that actually stayed dead. It's not rare by any means, especially looking at the census count there that I pulled up. But if anything, it just kind of goes to show, if you look at entry-level copies of this book, while not rare, it's very sought after. I mean, 1.0s go for well over $10,000. So this is not chump change. This is easily regarded as a grail book in any condition for almost any collector, aside from a few long-term jaded collectors who've been lucky enough to own multiple copies of this book. That's what
Jason.
I'm not one.
We're on to moderns now. This reminds me, when I first started doing car restorations, I had a 68 Camaro, and I was hanging out with some dudes. This particular fella happened to be younger than me, and I was telling them, they were asking what I was interested in, whatever. I said, I got this 68 Camaro. Well, they were all into like pre-war rods, right? And he said, a late model. and I didn't get it at first. I was the noob in the room, and I said, no, I said 68 Camaro, and he just looked at me and he said, I heard you.
It is kind of crazy. Not to get too far into it, but I picked up a couple more. It's an addiction, the art. I picked up a couple of Garfield strips, original Garfield strips, just to max out my Heritage invoice. And seeing some of the early ones from like 93, 94, I'm like, these are over 30 years old. I'm like, I should know this. I was born in 1990, but why is it crazier to me that these things that are from 93, 94, I'm like, these are old. I'm like, oh man, I'm old too. I don't feel like it, but these are undeniably. That's 3 decades is no joke. That's well 10 years past vintage. So it is weird that there are actually some modern books now from the early 2000s that are vintage. How is that modern? Anyway, I digress. Jason, I get it though. You deal with books that have 20 and 30 on the census. So what is this? 4,000? Get out of here. That's nonsense. But nonsense.
Ugly.
Or not. Yeah, I know, right? What a beater. What a rag. I see this and I'm like, I can't wait to see it without the tape and all straightened out and just let's get to work. I mean, this is what I love, seeing books like this that have lasted this long, that can use a little bit of love, and we're going to look better afterwards. There's a pic just from the corner to see kind of how offset. I mean, the cover was taped by a kid, probably all haphazardly, just to keep this thing from falling apart, because he read it until the cover fell off, or from a naughty dealer who was just, getting a little over.
Tape is not a defect. That said,
right.
I just want to go on record here. I would love this book in any grade. And this one looks beautiful to me, as is, although I'm sure you're going to show us that it had much more potential than it presented here.
I mean, it's amazing to me. It's like the cover stock had to endure the right conditions, where those folded over pieces at the top didn't just flake
I was
off.
just going to ask, what am I looking at? Is that folded over pieces?
Yep. Yeah. It's just, that's what you're seeing. So getting those back in position was part of the labor of love here. Little things like that. This thing was loved, and this thing was taped too. So there wasn't just the tape on the outside. You would tape the tape that we don't really like to see, but it's better than a whole vertical strip. At least you just have a couple horizontal strips that are securing the cover on and attached to the first wrap.
The cover to the first wrap.
So it was on the other side too. I sometimes I detail a lot of photos of my process. I'll have photos of the stack of Q-tips after I'm removing all of the excess adhesive once I've scraped, I'll have that on the board, but sometimes I just don't. In this case, there was more tape on the back cover adhered to the last wrap too. So that there is much more here really than I even got to detail.
Yeah. This is a great first page, and it's also great to see in immediate contrast to the cover, the contrast between the Jack Kirby cover and the Steve Ditko interior is really very cool in my estimation.
Yeah. You can see right away why Kirby really is just such a just look at that image front and center. I mean, he may not have drawn all the interiors, but it made sense why they were like, have this guy do the cover.
Well, apparently, I mean, as the story goes, Stan wanted a spindly, scrawny kid and also kind of a spindly, off-putting hero as well, a less heroic hero. And he asked Jack to do it and just said, and Jack apparently couldn't. He was just like, no discredit, but Jack's heroes are always heroic. And so he specifically had Steve do Spider-Man after Jack's style was not appropriate, but they still went with a Jack Kirby cover. And I think probably no regrets. I mean, one of the most homage covers, certainly of this era.
Yep.
Anyway, kind of you know what? You said it's the king. You said it's the undisputed king of the Silver Age, right? It's obviously not the first book of the Silver Age, but it is the book that kicks off the Marvel Age. Kind of.
I think FF1 for a while was there, but I think if you ask most people if they'd have to have FF1 or AF15, they'd probably go with AF15.
Yeah. It's the most valuable, right? It's the first Silver Age book to crack $1 million, right, across the auction block.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is, for those of you interested.
Oh, interesting.
There is an unused Ditko cover, and you can find it online. And it is cool, but yeah, it does not have the same visual punch. And one wonders whether or not ASM would have happened if not for the Jack Kirby cover here.
I think that might have been the one that they used as a variant cover for issue 700 maybe. I think it was actually published at some point.
Mm-hmm. They did. They republished it not that long ago, like in the last several years.
It's cool to see it. It is you're like, wow, and it's very cool.
So I'm interested if folks in the chat what they think of Undisputed King of the Silver Age for this book. Not that I disagree with you, Phil, but
well, you're a DC guy, though.
Oh no, I actually agree here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I would love to have a copy.
There's no wrong answers, but there's wrong answers there. This is
that's right. I just would like to spur some conversation. That's all.
Understand. So, all right. So the first order of business here really was I had to cut and separate the cover from the interior in order to soak the cover in the first wrap here. And you can see too, there was even a piece of the cover at the bottom staple that was detached and taped to the first wrap there that I had to try to, as carefully as I could, remove from the first wrap and then remove the tape and scrape away the adhesive from that little piece of 60s early Marvel cover stock with colors. Sure. So no biggie. Looking here too, you can see how loved this book was. I mean, this thing was warped. It had creasing through the entire cover. So this thing needed a nice humidification and press aside from the paper.
Sure. Yeah.
So here we go. We got the cover in the solvent bath, and the solvent is doing its magic to help loosen the adhesive so that way it can be scraped off.
So the carrier can be removed and the remaining adhesive can be scraped. So the adhesive, importantly, is not soluble in any of the solvents we use, but it does absorb the solvents, and then it kind of expands up, becomes a bigger, thicker gel, and then it can be scraped away.
It's still a lot of work.
Oh yeah. Very nice.
Here you can see a little bit better too, where the tape was on the back cover that you couldn't see, but you can see at least the. I'm trying to think of this. This is once the carrier is gone, and that's just the remaining adhesive. So you had a piece at the top back cover corner where it wasn't attached, but it was torn and starting to fold away. You can see how frayed and delicate the spine was there, and just take note of that. And then you can also see at the bottom where the spine was essentially split about 85% of the way all the way down. So what I tried to do after the cover went through the solvent bath and I scraped all the adhesive was fold everything back, and then as best as I could kind of reinforce areas with lap tears with methylcellulose if it could be mended. Because I think I've discussed several times in the past, methylcellulose is like, I got it on my desk all the time. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We have one vote for My Greatest Adventure number 80. I happen to be a fan of this book. I own My Greatest Adventure 80, so who might argue with Space Baby?
So on the right there, you can see that piece that was attached to the first wrap of the cover there. You can see the reverse side there. So that's that kind of dotted line lines up with that ad that you can see just beneath it in the back.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what I was looking at.
That's what you're looking at there. So
okay,
what I had to do was remove the carrier from this and then scrape the adhesive off and try to do it carefully without removing as much color as was going to come off. So you can kind of see a quick detail of the process there. All the way on the right, you can see the adhesive I was able to scrape away with my micro spatula there on the micro spatula. And then that piece is kind of ready to, as carefully as I could, be reinserted back into the place. If you look down at that ad again, pieces there. So thankfully there was just enough lap tear on that piece to very weakly join it together to basically get the cover reattached. And I figured even if it totally became detached again, at least it's in the right spot where it needs to be.
Sure.
And everything's clean. And if you look to just to look back, that picture on the left, that's what the spine looked like, how frayed it was. And then it's still got issues, but at least it's not as frayed, and it's hard to show, but there's areas there where I was able to rejoin the parts of the cover because there were just enough fibers that were still there that had just broken, but all the everything was there. So methylcellulose just helps to rebond that paper.
Sure.
So you're not performing really any magic. You're just helping what's there already.
Yeah. And who if you go back one, I just want to comment on this. I think we've all faced this before. Some people may have just given up. But when the paper gets pulled off or had already been separated and is only held together by the tape, and you've got to remove a small fragment from the tape and then somehow unite it with the book. This is some very tedious work, requires a steady hand, requires quite a bit of knowledge of the materials.
Patience,
the right tools.
A little bit of luck too, because there is that element.
Sure.
Especially, mostly really in the rejoining to the cover and keeping it secure, because that's a matter of handling, and you always handle it as less as possible, but you need to get everything back together. And in this case too, getting I always have, you can see in the middle picture there, I have one of these like X-Acto blades with a curved dull blade, and I'll use that to get in between the carrier and the piece on the left there. So that's one of those areas too where you kind of only have so many goes at it because the paper's so delicate. If you go to to try to get in there, but you didn't cleanly get between the paper and the carrier, and you slice in the paper. This is thin.
You're done.
Yeah, you're screwed. So really, what that means is you got to make sure that you're, like, in this case, I constantly kept getting Q-tip, or I might have even had a little eyedropper, and I'm just constantly re-wetting the piece with solvent, and that way you're tackling it wet all the time. I mean, really, if you have the setup and proper ventilation, in my opinion, removing the adhesive is really, like, you really should do it while it's submerged, or at least totally wet, because I mean, it's, on one hand, the paper is more fragile, but on the other hand, the adhesive is, and the paper is much more workable while it's wet than when it dries. Because once it dries, the moment between when all the solvent's dried and when you're still working it, and if you're just like, no, I'm going to go again because I still have 5 more seconds before it evaporates. And then if you're overly ambitious, you're tackling dry paper, and then the paper can only withstand so much.
Yeah, the solvents that we use, folks, it evaporates at an extremely rapid rate.
Right.
Not hexane.
Space Baby. You can use something like heptane or these things are on the T's chart in the same space, but we, at least here stateside, we pretty much all use Bestine. It's commercially available, relatively inexpensive, easy to get, and works quite well. I'm pretty sure it's heptane.
Yeah, hexane,
or mostly heptane anyway.
Hexane is a little bit overpowering for it. I
just
think.
To be clear from this question, I'm going to go, like, when this is wet and solvent, all I did to dry it is, or generally what I'll do is just put it between a couple of blotters with weight and just let it air dry. You just have to, the solvent's going to dry.
Yeah, like, it goes quick.
Yeah, let me comment on this actually. In terms of wet, it's not actually wet. In the same way that when you drop off your clothes for dry cleaning, they get cleaned in a solvent. It's not water, right? And paper in these kinds of solvents, it doesn't soak up the solvent in the same way it soaks up water.
Yeah.
The water does not get into the paper and disrupt the hydrogen bonding between the cellulose fibers. So, you know that Rick Morgan is famous for saying wet paper is weak paper. This paper here in Bestine, or one of these solvents in a similar spot on the T's chart, it is actually quite strong. This is very stable. Yeah. It doesn't swell up in the same way that it does in an aqueous solvent, or a solvent with OH, OH is floating around. And so it's not the same. And so Phil is saying dry, and he's saying, it's wet and I'll dry it, etc. Just keep in mind, from the standpoint of a lay person saying wet, sure, it's in a liquid. From the scientific standpoint of wet, when we say wet, we actually mean water or a similar solvent, and that is not what is happening here. So this is more akin to when you drop off your clothes to be dry cleaned. It's being bathed in a solvent that is not an aqueous solvent, and so the material properties are different. It dries differently. It doesn't swell up. You don't get the dimensional changes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a really good distinction. Yep.
A lot of consequences of that.
Yeah, that's another reason why, as long as it's been done properly, tape removal has always been universal label work, like on its own, as long as you do it properly. So this isn't anything like secretive that I'm doing. This isn't anything. This has been standard process in comic book restoration for as long as I know, at least 30 years. So
sure, yeah.
Probably further in paper restoration and conservation in general. So. Okay, so we got this looking back together. I think the next slide is the once it's been reassembled and pressed.
It's the reveal. Let me tell a funny side story then. That was before the reveal. prompted by my brother, who says 1986 Koi's Comics, $80. So my recollection is a little bit different than my brother's here. It wasn't Koi's Comics. It was the shop in Bay City, not Saginaw. I don't think it was 86. I think it was the summer of 84. And I think it was $90. There was a copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 on the wall in this comic shop for $90. It was a dog's dinner. It was really a rag. It was beat up. And I mean, my brother and I definitely spent at least $150 at that comic book shop that summer each. But it was the summer of 84. So we were buying like radioactive hamster, jujitsu hamsters. We were buying stuff like that. And we couldn't be bothered to ask to see that copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 on the wall for $90. But this was the era when comic books were exploding across the country. It was the first or second comic book shop in Bay City, in Bay City, Michigan. And it was also the time, it was the summer that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 hit. And so there were all the knockoffs of Teenage Mutant, like the geriatric gerbils and the radioactive hamsters. And those books were hot, and they were selling, for like $5 a piece. And we bought multiple copies of those because they'd be worth money someday. But we never thought that maybe we should try to pool our money or just not buy 10 copies of radioactive jujutsu gerbils or whatever it was, and buy one copy of Amazing Fantasy 15.
Sorry.
The folly of youth. The folly of youth. And who knows whether it was 84 or 86 or whether it was Koi's or another shop and whether it was 80 or $90. But it is what it is. Yeah, Kung Fu Kangaroos. That was another good one.
Dang.
Yeah. All right. I'll give you the...
It'll be really anticlimactic if this
Are you ready?
isn't it.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see if maybe it's not even this slide. That'd be pretty funny. Oh, it is.
Ooh,
Hey, okay, cool. So you've already seen
you
this.
did
You've seen it, but
perfectly.
so the real reveal that I don't have before is on the left. This was a prior CGC 1.0 grade. So I'll say at some point by the time I get to the final slide, but you can make guesses in the comments if you want what you think it came back on the right as once I showed the before and after photos. So was a 1.0 with tape cover reattached.
Okay.
With tape.
So we have several things to do here. First, bravo. I mean, what a transformation. And you saved the book, man. You got that tape off, which was slowly, surely destroying the book.
Just one note. It's easy to not see, but there's one piece of tape just to the right of the 12 cents underneath the F in like that
I see that
dark area. And if you look at the after, and it came off with virtually no color loss. Of all the color loss, that's the color that wants to come off the most when I've done this.
Oh yeah.
And
these
really happy
things
with
are
that.
so fragile in this era. It's really something.
Phil, was for your client, was conservation even a consideration, or they wanted to keep it universal?
No, I mean, so this is a PC book for them. I think they've had it for quite a long time. Unless I'm mistaken, this is a copy that like they got back when they were a kid. It was one of those like,
oh wow,
they went out and like they were like, don't tell mom and dad that I spent this money because they're gonna kill me if I spent. I definitely have at least one book with that exact type of story now. And if it's not this one, it's another one. But I think that is if you're a kid, it's we spent $500 on this. You did what? This is or however much it was. But their goal was just to preserve it because they wanted to get the tape off. And they didn't expect a great bump or anything. We just were like, it's probably might come back still a 1, but maybe they.
So remind us, and then we'll let the chat play the home game. it was a 1.0 universal, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So it
It's
started
the
life
back
as a
cover.
1.0 universal. Here you see front and back. It got resubbed, and we're looking for guesses on current status.
I'll go back and forth between some of the photos because I have some more like angles here.
Okay, I'm feeling like
I have my answer.
All that warping that was there.
okay, so it's not going to be
There it is.
higher than a 2.
Okay.
I'm feeling like it's at least a 1.5. So in my head, I'm thinking it's a 1.8, but it could be as high as a 2, could be as low as a 1.5.
I'm gonna call 1.8.
Yeah, 1.8.
1.8.
Do I think it's a 2?
Wow, lots of 2s in the chats. I appreciate all that. I appreciate all you guys.
I think it could be a 2. The spine isn't completely split, and it's not.
It is a lot
missing.
split though.
It's a lot split. No, it's
So
a lot.
I do want to illustrate something. I made the spine look much better, and I salvaged a lot that was there, and I even did mend. Like, it's so apparent here, but you can see where it's split on the bottom of the before, and that's actually one of the most apparent. I got that piece back and reattached.
No, you did. You did a fantastic job.
That was one of the areas, but a lot along the spine there, it was still frayed and not attached. So take that with with a grain of salt. So
all right. I think
I'll reveal a disappointment now because that's usually what it is, unfortunately. This book came back at least, it got a bump. It went from a 1 to a 1.5. So,
okay.
A small success. I'll say. Thought it was. I was
actually.
I'm not paid by CGC. My job description is not greater, so I can only lend my best.
Well,
guess.
half a point bump on this book is a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Think of it this way: if you had $10 and then you had $15, you would have increased your amount of money by 50%, right? If a comic is a 1.0 and it goes to a 1.5, that's basically a 50% increase in the grade, right?
Yeah.
That's like a 6 going to a 9.
Yeah.
Not also, exactly, but by the way, also I didn't comment on it before out loud, but look at how much less dingy this cover is. The gray field on the before picture is almost orange with so much kind of yellow content to it. Look at how that gray field is back to being gray in the after.
Yeah, look, it doesn't look dirty.
You're right, and this is the solvent bath, and this is completely universal work, right? This is not restoration. It's not even in PGC's estimation conservation. Clearly, that's a huge improvement in eye appeal as well.
It sure is. Undeniable.
Even if it stayed as a 1.0, I am very confident that the book would sell for more than the original 1.0, just because people buy the book, not the grade, especially when you get to these kinds of books.
But that dinginess you're talking about, you see it. So you'll see FF1s that are 9.2s, but the whole back of the white has the same dinginess, and it's like, and it's still structurally 9.2, but it just goes to show how apparent the solvent bath can be here. It really is. Yeah. It's magic. It works wonders. Chef's kiss. I love it.
It's beautiful work, Phil.
Thank you. I think, and sometimes things get lost in translation, and oftentimes things get lost when we're looking at CGC books, and we can't even see the rest of it. People are like, "This grade is this grade is that." And it's like we can't see the spine, we can't see creases, in raking or incident light, and oftentimes. So in this case here, I think the cover was also detached amongst everything else. So. Detached cover, all that splitting. A 1.5 does seem harsh just looking at the photos when it looks nicer, but I can understand the case, so I get it.
I just looked at the valuations, and 1.0 is right around $10,000, and I 1.5 was clocking in at $16,000. So it's a $6,000 bump. I think you did a fantastic job, Phil.
Well,
Absolutely.
shucks. Hey,
Absolutely.
and in this case, it was a bit more satisfying. So at least as much as I know, this is back on his shelf with his other books. If he was buying it to flip it, then the equity made there is pretty substantial as it is. But it's a little more satisfying knowing that it wasn't even about that in this case. It was just about removing the tape. But that extra 0.5 bump, that clarity and just the background is a benefit from the tape removal. Almost supersedes what it looks like with the tape gone. It's such
you can't benefit. Put a price on preserving this childhood.
You really can't.
Treasure, and so
either copy I'd be happy to have in my collection.
Oh,
because it's better than the one I don't have.
Any
so
copy,
really,
any copy of this book.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is the king of the Silver Age.
Introducing. I mean, it's so iconic. It really is.
The king, though, of 1984 were the geriatric jujitsu gerbils.
It's funny.
Or if you prefer, Nat Rat, The Dark Nat Returns, which in the vein of 84 and The Dark Knight was another spoof comic that I wasted money on when I could have put it toward a copy of this book.
I remember being in a comic shop and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 was on the rack, and I got, what a stupid name. Who is going to buy that?
Yeah.
And there was just dozens of these things, and I said those things are going to sit here for a long time.
They're going to sit for a long time. Yeah. Well, I have
in theory you were right, but it just happened to not turn out.
Well, I went back like a couple months later, and they had them bagged and boarded and selling for like $20 each. And I said, that's no way. Nobody. That's stupid. It coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Well, Kevin and I were in a shop, and the shop proprietor walked up to us and started talking to us, which was very alarming. And he said, "Have you heard about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?" And we were both into the spandex crew, and we were like, "What now?" And he explained, they're it's awesome and blah blah blah. And he had issue 3 had just hit, and he had issue 3 in the first print. He had issue 2 in the second print, and he had issue 1 in the third print. And he encouraged us to buy them. And we each bought one of each of those, and both still have them, and got them home and read them, and we're just like blown away. It's like objectively amazing, right? And so, sometimes you have to go outside the spandex crew to get some really great comic books, Jason, and give a bucktooth redhead a chance. Should we just drop the mic there and end the show?
Boom.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure.
Everyone, it's been a good night. Hey.
I'm pretty sure, KK, that some of my money went to Flaming Carrot as well. Some of the non ASM 15 money went there.
Hey, I heard multiple stories from people who said, I remember being on the rack in the early 2000s and The Walking Dead was there, and they were like,
"Oh yeah,
what is this?" And they were like, "What is this piece of crap?" And they're like $3 now. Nope.
Sales boy, thanks for the super chat. Keep it moist, nice. My man. Keep it moist.
Hey, I want to answer a question here from Ben Stewart. He was asking if the Bastine did the clean, brighten it, and possibly, but most likely no. That's Phil's cleaning, dry cleaning that did that.
Yeah.
The Bastine is not going to lighten it, like it's not going to release dirt.
Well, it'll. Some of the compounds that result from the breakdown of the paper are soluble in Bastine and will come out. So it's both.
Okay.
It's dry cleaning and it's the solvent bath. Yeah.
It's I've been asked some questions in regards to books that I've like removed tape, like in an instance like this, almost kind of Larry, what you're asking specifically. And it's tough to show sometimes because I don't have like this is before and after just the dry cleaning. This is before. So sometimes that isn't as apparent what did what exactly.
Yeah.
So it is, I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
It's both. But,
Yeah.
Phil offers the dry solvent bath cleaning as a service and markets it as a cleaning, right?
Like
because
in this case,
because it does have this effect.
When you look at like the what's it called, like the motion streaks behind Spider-Man, those white lines, like that's not going to do anything to make the white lines more visible on the right there, so to speak. It'll make them more bright, but it's not going to remove all the dirt that you see there that needs to be manually
Sure.
away. So it's both. It's both things.
Yeah, this was dry cleaned. So
yeah.
Oh, Space Baby.
To be clear, it almost can make so. Larry, thank you for clarifying that, because I think that's what I was trying to articulate. But I was doing a poor job of. It sometimes the pictures make it deceiving and make it appear as if just the solvent bath is cleaning everything, but really it isn't. I'm just not detailing the dry cleaning process. Like I see some people that highly detail the dry cleaning process, and for me personally, like I almost, it's not even intentionally, I just kind of skip over that part showing it. Maybe I could show it more just to illustrate it as something that I'm doing too, because that definitely can get lost in translation. And I see where you're coming from with that question, though.
I think Space Baby here, the besting is the rinse. And then you just dry it as, and again, I'm saying dry with air quotes because it's not technically wet in a scientific sense, but you put it between blotters and you just let that solvent flash off.
Yeah. No blood
and no blood. Yeah.
Nothing.
No blood.
Like this. I mean, if you want to try to tackle tape stains after tape is removed and it's been cleaned, you could do that at your own discretion. If you want to risk getting a console or maybe a purple label if you're going way too hard at it, but that's something that, while I know some people have favorable results for universal label work, I still have yet to see 100% guaranteed universal label work every time. So I almost always have to operate underneath that umbrella. So yeah.
Well,
no blood here.
Wonderful.
No need for the blood.
Wonderful book, Phil. Thanks for sharing it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great book, Phil.
Your client,
thanks, guys. Yeah, really. Hey, thanks
for that work.
Exactly. Thanks to the client for the work. I really appreciate it, and for everyone tuning in and taking a look at this book that I maybe am a little bit jaded now, because when I had to try to find an example, I was like, oh, I can pick that AF-15, and really that's messed up, because like this, Larry, as you said, you looked up, you're like, this is a $16,000 book. It's not about it being the value.
No, it's nothing to sneeze at. I mean,
it really isn't.
It's the absolute grail.
It's one of only, I mean, it's not, Jason, sorry, it's not one of only 20, but even still, one of less than 5,000 remaining copies of something that's this culturally significant and relevant is pretty nutty, I think. So every one of these that I see, like, I made joke that I'm being jaded, but I really, like, I'm often stopping and looking at the panels of this book, or like I'll read the whole thing through, even though I've read this book and copies of this book dozens of times at this point. Like, it's still like every copy's a different, the kid. Just imagining the kid that read this to death and then taped it to keep it together. It's just like there's so much history in these books. That's why I got into this. I like nerding out, talking about it. And I could talk everyone's ears off all night, but we could probably use this as a good stopping point. So
let's thank this show's sponsors: Lost in Wallace, Don Carter, Collecting Chaos, You Pluck My Last Comic, and Gorilla Monkey 3K. Thank you also to next week's sponsors: Don Carter, Collecting Chaos, Gorilla Productions 73, and Salesboy Comics. And with that, we will say thank you all so much for joining us. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate those of you that watch it later. Leave us comments. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Tell somebody about the show. Come check us out in the Facebook group. If you want more conservation content, and we appreciate and love all of you. And until next time, take care of one another.
See you later, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in, and leave a comment on the video.